Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys are in for a treat. Okay, so next up, Todd Cirillo lives in New Orleans as a poet, publisher, and pirate, where he tries to keep the days from running away like wild horses over the hills. He was literally born in a bar around the same time Bukowski stopped going to bars. This may just be a coincidence. Todd's career goal is to have his poems printed on beer bottles, even if it's a brand he looks down on. His parents are so proud. Todd is living proof that love is a dog from hell. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Cirillo.
Y'all having a good time? Yeah. Yes. Y'all want some poetry? Yeah. You want some Bukowski poetry? Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, I'm gonna read my own stuff. We can do this. Give it to us. We can do that. Here we go. Right? Stay with me, because the louder you are, the better I feel. Well, that's a terrible statement for a writer, because we're so self-centered. Really, bring it to me. I want you to bring it to me. Can you do that? Yes! And here we go. We're going to talk about love.
Yeah, love.
I like love. Hot. She was hot. She was so hot, I didn't want anybody else to have her. And if I didn't get home on time, she'd be gone. And I couldn't bear that. I was caught. I was caught. It was childish, I know. I delivered all the mail, and then Henderson put me on the night pickup run in an old army truck. The damn thing Motherfucker. Ain't that a son of a bitch? Man, I had it all planned out for you. The damn thing began to heat halfway through. The night went on. The night went on, me thinking about my hot Miriam. The engine continuing to heat up. The temperature gauge was at hot. Hot. Hot like my Miriam. And I left in and out 3 more pickups to go into the station. And there I'd be, my car, waiting to get me to Miriam, who sat on my blue couch with the scotch on the rocks and her ankles swaying the way she did. 2 more stops. The truck stalled at a light. It was hell kicking it over. Again, I had to be home by 8. 8 was the deadline for Miriam. A half block from the station. It wouldn't start. It couldn't start. I locked the doors, pulled the key, ran down to the station. I threw the keys down, signed out. Your goddamn truck is stalled at the course. Goddamn truck is stalled at the signal. Pico and Western. I ran down the hall, put the key into the door, opened it. Her drinking glass was there, and a note. Son of a bitch. I waited until 5 after 8. You don't love me, you son of a bitch. Somebody will love me. I've been waiting all day, Miriam. I poured a drink and let the water run into the tub. There were 5,000 bars in the town, and I'd make 25 of them looking for Miriam. Her purple teddy bear held the note. As he leaned against a pillow, I gave the bear a drink. I gave myself a drink as I got into the hot water.
Oh,
Hemingway. She said it was in Havana, 1953, and she was visiting him. And one day she saw him, and it was in the afternoon, and he was drunk, and he was stretched out on these pillows, drunk. And she took the photo of him, and he looked up and said, "Don't you ever give that photo to anybody." When she came to visit me from Italy this summer, she told me about it. And I said, "That must be some photo." She told me that my house was very much like his house. We drank, we had dinner somewhere, and she had to take a plane out. The photo is framed at the bottom of my stairway now, looking north. He was fat, he was drunk, and he's in the right place. Young in New Orleans, starving there, sitting around the bars, and at night, the streets went on for hours. The moonlight always seemed to take me. Maybe it was. And in the French Quarter, I watched the horses and buggies going by. Everybody sitting high in the open carriages, the black driver, and in the back, the man and woman were always white, and I was always white, and hardly charmed by this world. New Orleans was a place I could hide. I could piss away my life unmolested, except for the rats. The rats in my dark, small room very much resented sharing it with me. They were large and fearless and stared at me with eyes that spoke of unblinking death. Women were beyond me. They saw something depraved. There was one waitress, though, a little older than I. She would linger a little when she brought my coffee. That was plenty for me. That was enough. Yeah. There was something about that city, though. It didn't let me feel guilty that I had no feeling for the things that so many others needed. It let me alone. Sitting up in my bed, the lights out, hearing the outside sounds, lifting my cheap bottle of wine and letting the great warmth of the grape enter me as I heard the rats moving about the room. I preferred them to humans. Being lost, being crazy, maybe it's not so bad if you can just be that way, undisturbed. New Orleans gave me that. Nobody ever called my name. No telephone, no car, no job, no anything. Me and the rats. And my youth. One time, that time, I knew. Even through the nothingness, it was a celebration of something not to do, but only know. The laughing heart. Yes. There you go. He's out there. Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission. Be on the watch. There are ways out. There is a light somewhere. It may not be light, but it beats the darkness. Be on the watch. The gods will offer you choices. Know them. Take them. You can't beat death, but you can beat death in life.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And then, the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous.
Yeah.
The gods await to delight in you.
Woo! Woo! Yeah.
There was a amazing person that Bukowski used to correspond with for 2 decades. She was in Sacramento, California. They used to talk on the phone, and she only met him one time. He even dedicated his book, South of No North, to her.
Yeah.
Her name was Anne Menevroker. Look it up. She was a magnificent poet. She was a magnificent human being.
Yes.
And she would laugh, and she would say, well, I'm going to be known as the only woman who never slept with Bukowski. But the important thing is when they used to correspond, is that Neely loved her, Julie loved her, William loved her, and I fucking loved her. And this is one of their letters. June 28th, 1974. Hello, Anne. Hold yourself together. The glue may arrive to keep you and Wayne together. Of course, I'd like to see you, but I can promise you nothing. Neither sex or love or even understanding. But I would like to see you. We could have some drinks, lounge around, and you could stay as long as you wished. Things are quiet here. People do come around, but not so often. I have no strong attachments. There is one lady, though, who says, Bukowski, why don't you love me? I'm a beautiful woman. Sorry, I tell her. I have the lever turned to off. I don't even know if I ever want to get back into a strong affair again. I am too emotional. I am too sentimental when the games begin. Those hard games that men and women play against each other. I am lost. Well, the book finally came out. It's a fat one, selected poems. And my name's on the cover, so I suppose I wrote them. Try to stay well and don't feel too bad. Or if you do feel too bad, remember, it happens to all of us. Hold, dear. Hold. Hold to the fucking walls. And soon, you'll be laughing. And you'll be thinking, how did I ever let it get me to this fucking place? All we need is time to straighten out, to feel better, and then to make the same mistake all over again. Love, Boot. All right. I am a reasonable man. I had flown 1,000 miles to see her. At her request, quote, just for old time's sake. We'd had the night together, and now it was breakfast in the Arizona Cafe. Nice, quiet place. The sun coming in. On the red and white checkered board, tablecloth. She said, "I can't eat." The tears were running down her face. "I'll finish your breakfast," I told her. "No use wasting it." She straightened her back, inhaled, and screamed. The waitress and fry cook came running out. "Is everything all right?" she asked. "Oh, yes," I said. They both went in back and watched us through the serving window. Across from me, her tears were still coming. "Have a buttered bacon," I said. "It'll help you feel better." "Shut up," she said. "Just shut up." "Look," I told her, "I'll leave today. Let's try one more night," she said. "We can talk." I finished her breakfast and paid, and we left. That night we drank and talked and then slept. At 3 a.m., I awoke, howling in pain. She had grabbed my balls and yanked. "You crazy bitch," I said. "What's the matter with you?" She said, "You didn't fuck me. You didn't fuck me," she said. I got up and began dressing. "What are you doing?" she said. Doing? I said, pulling my pants up. "I'm going to catch a cab to the airport." I sat down and began putting my shoes on. Then she was out of bed and in between me, putting her head in between my knees and unzipping me. "I want you to stay," she said, bending her head toward my center. "I want you to stay," she said. "All right," I said. As the summer moon came through the curtains just for old time's sake. The secret of my endurance. This is Carrie Floyd's favorite poem. I don't know where he is, but
Carrie,
yeah, Carrie Floyd.
where are you?
The secret of my endurance. I still get letters in the mail, mostly from cracked up men in tiny rooms in factory jobs or no jobs, who are living with whores or no women at all. No hope, just booze and madness. Most of the letters arrive on lined paper, written in an unsharpened pencil or in ink, or in tiny writing that slants to the left. And the paper is often torn, usually halfway up the middle. And they say they like my stuff. I've written from where it's at. And they recognize that, truly. I've given them a second chance, some recognition of where they're at. It's true, I was there, worse off than most. But I wonder if they realize where their letters arrive today. Well, they are dropped into a box behind a 6-foot hedge with a long driveway leading to a 2-car garage, rose garden, fruit trees, animals, a beautiful woman, mortgage about half paid, about a year, a new car, a second car, fireplace, and a green rug 2 inches thick, with a young boy to write my new stuff now. I keep him in a 10-foot cage with a typewriter, feed him whiskey and raw whores, belt him pretty good 3 or 4 times a week. I am 60 years old now, and the critics say my stuff is getting better than ever.